Do you want to take a bucket list cruise that lasts 8 glorious weeks and includes 28 days in stunning Caribbean island ports? Or do you think spending that same 2 months at an Airbnb would be a better bargain? Let's crunch the numbers. Hello, my friends. Give me a thumbs up if you are sick of winter. My husband and I definitely are, and we are already planning so that we don't have to deal with this again next year. If you're a subscriber, you probably already know that we're big fans of the concept of back-to-back cruising, especially during the winter. But sometimes we wonder if we'd be smarter to just book an Airbnb someplace warm. So in this video, I'm going to do the math and figure out which is the better deal. I know a lot of you might say it's comparing apples to oranges, and I get that. You're right, they are completely different experiences. That's why I'm going to let the numbers help us decide. It took a little digging around to figure out which ship I wanted to focus on, and I want to explain why. First, I want this to be back-to-back cruises on the same ship, so that means there will be no hotel stays in between cruises. You'd be on the ship every single night in this adventure. Second, I want each cruise that I'm on to visit Perfect Day at Coco Cay. I find it to be my favorite place to visit because I can be on one of several beaches within minutes of stepping off the ship. Yes, there are plenty of shore excursions that you can pay extra for on Coco Cay, but I find I simply don't need to. So to get the most fun out of this itinerary, I want to be on Coco Cay once a week without fail. That can make it a little hard to book a solid winter's worth of cruises because a lot of the ships only visit Coco Cay every other cruise. And lastly, I don't want to be on the Icon or any of the newer ships because they are cost prohibitive for a retired couple like us, especially when we're looking to plan so many cruises at once. And that brings me to a wonderful option with the Independence of the Seas. It's alternating between Eastern and Western Caribbean itineraries and goes to Coco Cay on every cruise that's offered in the time frame I chose. And speaking of that time frame, I chose to look at cruises after that holiday school break has ended because that makes the prices much better. And honestly, even though I would have to endure a little dose of winter by waiting until January to start this cruise itinerary, I genuinely like to be home for the holidays. It's right after the new year that I start chomping at the bit to get out of here and feel some sun on my skin again. And then I chose to end this adventure just before the crazy spring break pricing starts up in mid-March, making the total amount of time cruising to be 8 lovely weeks. You'll see as I punch in these numbers that I would have been smarter to book this a little more in advance. And I know that's a shocker to some people because I'm making this video 11 months before the first sail date next year. But 11 months really isn't enough advance time if you're trying to do back-to-back cruises. First off, you will definitely be struggling to book the same cabin every single time. And for me, that's really essential for back-to-back cruising because you'll be able to avoid packing and unpacking again and again and again in between each week-long cruise. That can get old really quickly. But if you're smart, which I wasn't here, you can easily book the same cabin and not have to move your belongings if you book your trips shortly after the newest itineraries are released. The second reason I should have booked earlier is because you'll see that the pricing is drastically different for some of the weeks. That's simply because they're running short on cabins in those particular weeks, and it's basically supply and demand at work. As the supply of cabins grows scarce, the prices will go up. That's why a lot of people will tell you that you'll find the best price for booking a cruise right after the new itineraries are released. But as I've mentioned in previous videos, that's not always the case either. Sometimes you can get a better deal about a month or so later, especially if it's on an older ship and people aren't clamoring to book it. So don't let that stop you from booking a cruise at the smartest time that works for you, because in most cases, those deposits aren't refundable. So you don't want to book a cruise until you're sure that you're going. A lot of people ask me whether or not you'll have to leave the ship in between cruises, and first off, I want to say that everything is constantly changing in the cruise world. So depending on when you're watching this video, well, who knows what they'll have you do. So never take anyone's word for it if you hear it on YouTube or social media of any kind. It's smarter to check with the cruise line directly. But by and large, the routine is this. You have to leave your cabin for a few hours. The They'll put you in an area of the ship with other back-to-back cruisers, and you'll just hang out together while they clean the ship. Then the whole group is escorted off the ship for a very brief few moments in which you basically touch the ground. Then they lead you all right back onto the ship. So it's not like you have to wait in any of the long lines that you have to face when you get on your first cruise. So it's just not that big of a deal. At least to me it's not. In fact, it's a great time to bring your laptop or your phone and catch up on texts and emails from while you were at sea. But again, please always check with your cruise line in case something has changed. And so here we are with a grand total of $23,209.96 for my husband and me. And when I put in the gratuities of $18.50 per person per day, we're at $25,281.96. And remember that includes a roof over your head and a balcony that overlooks the stunning ocean, and some really spectacular entertainment options every day that you're on board. You can do this for a whole lot cheaper if you go with an interior cabin. So keep that in mind. It also includes a lot of complimentary food choices and even some drinks, though not soda or alcohol. Those are extra. Best of all, you get 8 days on Coco Cay, along with 4 days in Jamaica, 4 days in Grand Cayman, 4 days in Mexico, 4 days in Puerto Rico, and 4 in St. Thomas. That sounds like a pretty spectacular way to spend my winter. Now let's compare that to what we'd get if we stayed in an Airbnb. I'm choosing Miami and looking for a waterfront condo because that would be the closest thing I can find to a balcony cabin on a cruise ship because of Miami's beaches, nightlife, restaurants, and warm weather. I'm choosing the exact same dates as I chose for our cruise option, and the first rentals that I'm finding look promising because they're studios rather than a one-bedroom, and that seems like a fair comparison to a cruise cabin. But the views these ones offer directly from the condos aren't nearly what you'd find on a balcony cruise ship cabin. So I'm settling on this one because it's the cheapest I can find that is available for that full amount of time that actually has an ocean view directly from their balcony. And what an ocean view it's got, right? And right off the bat, I'm seeing that I'll have a ton more space than I would have on a cruise ship, and truly, that's a huge plus. But I also don't have a beautiful ship to explore. I don't have food included. I'll either have to eat out or go to the grocery store and make my meals myself. And this Airbnb won't come with all the amazing entertainment that you'd have on a cruise ship. You're also stuck in one destination. There's no venturing off to different islands. It's just one city. Unless you rent a car, and that's an added expense. And the total for our Airbnb close equivalent is $9,384.47 after Airbnb adds in all those service fees and taxes. That total is less than half the cost of doing back-to-back cruises in the same time frame. But you are still going to have to eat and entertain yourself, and that can be pretty pricey. But if you want to look at it this way, if I subtract the Airbnb amount from the total cruise fares, that leaves us $15,897.49 that we can use to feed and entertain ourselves if we are going the Airbnb route. That's $283.88 a day that you could spend on food and entertainment to try to bring your vacation up to the level of the cruise. I don't know about you, but I can eat and entertain myself pretty well on $283 a day. So which one is the winner? You tell me. Seriously, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. For me, I still prefer the cruise option. I don't have to cook, clean, or look too hard to find plenty of ways to entertain myself. In fact, I did an entire video on why I think cruise vacations are perfect for me, especially as I get a little more, well, advanced in my years. I'll put the link to that video in the comments below. And when you check it out, I hope you'll hit that subscribe button. As always, thank you so much for watching, for commenting, and especially for subscribing. You make this channel a positive, welcoming forum, and I'm so grateful for you.